and napkins.
Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win. Big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Solgas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, I'm Hubert Filbert, a teacher by profession and someone living with the condition diabetes for the past 35 years. Today, I'm going to share on my experiences of self-management as a diabetic. Diet is important to me, so I've established a motto. Not so much on what I eat, but how much I eat. So I eat small quantities of food, especially high-calorie foods. I focus on vegetables and fruits, lettuce, cabbage, cauliflower, pak choy, cucumber. I self-monitor. I check my blood sugar levels at least twice daily, and I also self-inspect for abrasions or bruises so that early treatments and care can be given. I use my kitchen gardening as a means of exercise and also to complement my diet. As a teacher, I do physical education with my students, which helps a bit. Physical exercises helps to balance my blood sugar levels. I chat regularly with other diabetics. Those experiences help to guide some of my choices. I want to make a special appeal to men in particular. Diabetes is not a death sentence. I want to ask that once you are diagnosed with a condition, please come forward to get the help with management and treatments.
This is a message from the Lions Club of St. John and the Grenada Diabetes Association, funded by the European Union through the 11th European Development Fund Program.
Hills and Valley Pharmacy offers both wholesale and retail pharmaceutical and over-the-counter products. We have the most competitive and affordable prices. We are the agents for Vit Plus multivitamin for healthy everyday lifestyle and Sanatogen powder. Hills and Valley Pharmacy supplies the best quality, name brand clinical products such as Rescue Oil, Bio Oil, Neutrogena, Aveeno, and Clarisil. We offer the most convenient opening hours. Our telephone numbers are 435-6904 or 6903. Remember, at Hills and Valley Pharmacy, your health is our business. We care.
Now open, Hills and Valley Medicare Center, your one-stop for medical supplies, massage therapy, physiotherapy, and an in-house physician. At Hills and Valley, your health is our business.
Get vaxxed, hey, hey, vaccinated. Get vaxxed, hey, hey, get vaccinated. Vaccinated. So wear your mask, wash your hands, and practice social distance. This is we chance to advance. Come let we fight this COVID at once. So come on let we fall in line. We want to come back to with social life. There is vaccination island-wide. So come on let we fight it to protect we and we family.
This is a message from the Grenada Red Cross and the Ministry of Health.
With them coconuts, rum lemon, passion fruit, sorrel, even the exotic spicy rum.
Ah, the flavored rums of Grenada Distillers Limited.
Class codes?
Yes, girl. They are all produced by the Grenada Distillers Limited in Woodlands. You know, all their rums are world-class and internationally acclaimed, winners of numerous gold medals.
I have the spicy rum.
Grenada's #1 rum. We drink it on sport. Add a little flavor to your life.
Hello, Grenada. This is Albert Doobai Richards from Radio Antilles. Join me this Friday from 8 p.m. along with Jeff Aird and the We Culture team as we go back to the days of great radio programming. Grenada, don't miss it, alright?
Kindly greasy pole, and we don't dance round the maypole.
Good evening once again, folks, and welcome to We Culture. It's Friday evening. It is the new norm, and folks, the entire team is here along with our two very special guests. We're all excited, and I know everyone out there is really pumped up and waiting. All right, we welcome all our viewers on GBN Television 7 and 11, our viewers on Facebook, on the GBN Facebook page, and also on the YouTube channel, and of course K105 FM. So folks, we're ready to go. Let's welcome the team first of all. Reece, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm pretty excited. Super excited. I've been super excited.
I can imagine.
Yes. My Saturday mornings would not have started if I was not listening to Doobai, you know. So and at the time, so you don't like how people behave about, you know, the people that they're fan of, Michael Jackson and all of that. But they get excited. I am super excited about making your acquaintance, sir. And I've heard quite a bit about Mr. Aird. I don't know him, but I am just elated to be sitting in the presence of these legends. I think Jericho and I would have had a conversation about this the next day. Was he still alive, you know? So this is a really proud moment for me here, and I feel exceptionally special that I am able to be looking at these folks.
Yes. Well, I think the excitement is all around. Doc?
Well, good night, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here tonight. Let me just say, I'm excited, but Godfrey, I would let you do the honors in bringing in the other guys, those legends we have on with us tonight. But also, Godfrey, I just want to, before, I know we wouldn't have much of a time, I just want to say hello to all the fathers of Saturday, because tomorrow being Father's Day, of course, we have how many? Hopefully 5 or 6 of us, 5 of us on the panel here. So happy Father's Day. But I just want to take time to recognize some special fathers, because, you know, lately the narrative have been like, it seems like all our males are being sort of criminalized. Like everybody seems to be a sexual abuser, a physical abuser, etc. But we have some great fathers outside there, and I want to say, well, not everyone is going down that path. So I want to recognize people like Uriah Peters, playwrights in the region, a legend in the region, people like Richard Duncan, manager of Copley's Bank, Kester Lyons, principal of Croatia, Ryan Charles, captain security at SGU, Tral, marketeer, Edwin Charles, a truck driver. But especially, I want to recognize 2 guys. One named Carlisle Glean was a former governor general who always thought that the narrative should be more positive for the young boys. And scholar, our good friend, Pastor King, who for many years used to organize forums in order to recognize the contribution that men make and try to lift up those guys that were falling by the way. So to all the fathers of society, happy Father's Day. Thank
you, Doc. Thank you, Doc. Yeah, so Scholar Doc, take out of your time, so you only have 30 seconds.
All I have to say is good night. Let's get the ball rolling. Good night. One thing I must say though, I was properly warned. What day it was? Monday or Tuesday. I received a call from an old colleague of mine who's retired now, and she said she's a avid listener to the program. And when she heard that Jeffrey Aird was coming on, she said to me, do not forget to tell Jeffrey Ed, Melly's Ramjohn said good night. Otherwise, I will hang you. So I do not want to get hanged. Mr. Ed, Melly's Ramjohn said good night.
All right, guys, thank you very much. So it is my pleasure now to welcome our guest, Mr. Jeffrey Ed, a gentleman that has laid the foundation for many of the radio personalities of today. Myself being one of them. It's such a pleasure to have you, Mr. Ed. Good evening and welcome to Grenada Broadcasting Network.
Good evening to you, Godfrey, and to all the guests on tonight's show. Well, I wasn't a legend. All those who came before me were the legends. All I did was get a job on the radio station, gave the people what they wanted to hear. I wasn't the best in the crop, but I wasn't the worst either. but it's a great pleasure to be on tonight. I hope we have a wonderful 2 hours. All get together. It's a wonderful family. And thanks for the intro and all that goes with the nice performance.
Thank you very much indeed. Of course, and the man himself, Doobai. Good evening.
Tis I, Doobai. That's how I used to start my Caribbean Togetherness radio program way back. And let me tell you how deeply honored I am to be in your midst tonight. I hope I sound humble and not full of it. And I'm just happy to be here. And Estelle, I don't know, I'm still blushing. At my age, I'm still blushing, and thank you for the kind words. Good to be here.
Thank you very much. So we're gonna start, Jeff. I'm gonna start with you. You started this thing in 1971. That was a very, very, very long time ago. Let's talk quickly about how it was then. Radio in 1971. Tell us a little bit about that, how it was, the programming, and maybe you can also tell us what sort of nudged you to get involved in radio.
Well, actually, as a child growing up back on the island and listening to WIBS, because remember, I entered there as WIBS in those days, and then in 1971, it became Radio Grenada, and all the islands decided that they want to go their separate ways, especially Grenada. The government of Grenada at the time decided that we want to split from this union. So they decided to break away and form Radio Grenada. But programming back then wasn't that different from WIBS. Even though at WIBS time, we were, should I say, prevented from playing certain songs. For example, no calypsos can be played on a Sunday. And that was outlawed. And it's like going back to when WIBS was first formed, actually. You couldn't get any local programming on that radio station in those years. Mm-hmm. Remember, WIBS came on the scene, I think it was 1955, because I think Princess Margaret, when she came to Grenada, was the one who sort of officially opened WIBS. So WIBS lasted from 1955 until 1971. Our programming there was basically almost the same as you have it today. The last time I was on the island, actually, was in 2014, and listened to the radio. And I noticed most of the songs and the programming that was on, we couldn't have done that in my days. We were very restricted in our broadcasting. There's sort of some things we couldn't say. A lot of music, records we couldn't play, because you get a phone call asking you right on air to take it off. That happened. Oh yeah, it did. And I tried my best to do certain things. Sometimes I got suspended 5 times while I was on the radio. I was. So it's a big change compared to 1971, because as I said, there are a lot of things that couldn't be done now. I'm surprised when I hear people calling into the radio station and saying certain things that other callers couldn't do. We cut you off immediately. Or as announcers, we could not say certain things either, because as I said, we get in trouble for it. Today is different, because you have a younger generation now, and we were the older crowd, and we had to adhere to what we were told back then. certain things you can do. You must also understand too that freedom of speech has its limitations. You don't go overboard because you have freedom of speech. Because some people, even today on Radio Grenada, or GBN, sorry, you can get into trouble for certain things you're saying. But I notice most of it is being ignored, and you have a freeway to say certain things. But as I said, we couldn't do that back in 1971.
Okay. So you started in 71 and you continued until when?
1979, when the revolution came in. I was in the heat of the revolution, and if I can just say it, because I remember the day before the revolution in 1979, the 12th of March, I was at a restaurant up at Rother's Lane in St. George. And I was at the bar drinking with the owner of the bar. We were chatting and so on. And unknown to me that in the back room were 4 or 5 gentlemen who were sitting there having a drink and this and that. And in came, at the time, the Minister of Finance walked in to that place with a friend of his and said hello to me and to the owner of the bar. Then a few minutes later, one of the men at the back of the bar came forward to order a drink, and I recognized him. He was a member of one of the party that overthrew the government at the time. So they were very quiet in the background there, and they were obviously, who knows, maybe planning for in a few hours. And that minister who walked in was one of those who got arrested the next day. So little did he know that this was his last night of freedom when he walked in that restaurant. So that night I went home, and in the wee hours of the morning, my phone rang, and it was a well-known civil servant who called me and said to me that the radio station has been taken over by the group, right? They took it over. So I said, what are you talking about? And she said, no, I'm telling you, the radio station has been taken over. So then I called, before that, sorry, I put my radio on, and the first voice I heard on the radio was Adonis Francis. I think he was a commissioner of police at the time, back in those days. Adonis Francis was on the radio asking the policemen in Guav to put down their guns. Apparently, they were the last holdout. They were refusing to surrender. So I got up and I told her, thank you very much. And then I called the station's manager. And he said, yes, Jeff, that's been taken over. And I said, what? Are you kidding? And he said, yeah, they were taken over. So then I had to work that morning. I don't want to keep it too long with this. And I got a knock at my door that morning, and they came with guns and all that to pick me up and asked me to accompany them to the radio station. But I said, no, I'm not going because I just came home with a hangover. I'm not leaving. And they demanded that I come with them. I said, no, I'm not going because I've been drinking. And they said, hold on a minute. They left, and they spoke to someone up there on the side of the road, whatever. And they came back and said, okay, then we'll come for you later. And later on, I went to the radio station to broadcast. But it was a bit tough. It was it's an experience that never happened before in the Caribbean, of course. So I stayed there until May 1979, and then I left Grenada. I was given permission to leave the island. Even though when I arrived at Pearls Airport, they were preventing me from leaving. So.
Okay, wonderful. But Jeff, in terms of I just want to go back to the programming and the kind of music you mentioned earlier that it was you had no local content. Yes. But how was that done? I mean, what you just music was provided by who? The 4 islands or what? How was it done?
Well, sometimes the island was supplied, but usually it's done locally. Because in those days, we were not advanced in having, the sort of system you have now. So some of the musicians would come to the radio station and do the recordings, or we would go to them, especially Calypsonians. We'd go to them to do the recordings. And basically, that's how we did it, because we had a lot of local programming in those days, lots of it. Of course, we mixed, programs were mixed. We had local, international, whatever. But everything was mixed, and the local program was a must. You were mandated to have all things local when we were on the air. Like I had a show called Bumper to Bumper where a lot of local music was played. So the local program was there. It was demanded of us to play local.
Okay. There was someone told me to ask you about this program. I don't know if it was how it was, but it was called To Mars and Back.
To Mars and Back.
I was told whenever someone saw you and they said to Mars, your response would be
and back. But no, we never had a program called To Mars and Back. No, we never had a program like that name.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, someone just told me that. I don't know. So I'm just asking things that people said. Yeah. All right. Okay. So I tell you what, we need to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to go to Dubai and get something about Radio Antilles. So stay with us, folks. We'll be back with you in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.
Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Solgas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
We support you at every stage of your life.
For business,
for your education,
for your financial freedom,
for that new ride.
Upgrade your life with the Communal. Contact us today.
Montreal, it's time to line virtually one more time. Gemma Rayburn Baines here for Spice Island Cultural Festival, a celebration of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. This summer's festival is a celebration of life with food, fashion, music, and culture. Join us online Saturday, July 10th, 3 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube at Spice Island Cultural Festival. Info, spiceislandculturalday.com.
We shall fight them on the beaches. We shall defend our islands and our oceans to rid our waterways of plastic and other marine litter. We shall fight in the mountains, the valleys, on the coastline. We shall never surrender until every home on every street in our cities, towns and villages in the OACS learn to reuse, reduce and recycle plastic and prevent the pollution of our beloved ocean. We shall fight marine litter together with our sports clubs, our churches, the private sector, our schools. Join the fight. We shall never surrender.
This message is brought to you by the OACS Commission with funding from the Government of Norway. Remlit, tackling ocean pollution from tooth to sooth.
Get high making money moves with the NLA's new Aces High Scratch game with 4 chances to win. Beat the dealer's card to win the prize shown. Reveal an A symbol. And just like that, you are automatically a winner. Scratch away to win the top prize of $10,000. Win easy with Scratch. Must be 18 or older to play.
Good evening, viewers and listeners. Welcome to the National Lotteries Authority's Daily Pick 3 Evening Draw for today, Friday, June 18th, 2021. I am Anisha Charles. With me this evening is Ms. Makiba Bain from PKF Accountants and Business Advisors, whose purpose is to ensure that this show is conducted in an accountable manner, with again both with industry standards and no way tampered with. For the time, your tickets ready. It's Daily Pick 3. It pays to play. Good luck. First over this evening is check and tickets in the meantime. First number is 0, second number is 3, third and final number is 5. Let's recap those numbers. Numbers on the screen. First number is 0, the second 3, third and final is 5. So that's 0, 3, and 5. Congratulations, all winners. Stay tuned, get your daily cash will drop next. We'll see you soon.
Tick, tock, toe. I win.
Feel like a big kid again when you play NLA's new scratch game, Tic-Tac-Toe. It's instant cash on the go. Reveal 3 X's or 3 O's in the same row, column, or diagonally, and win the prizes shown, or as much as $5,000. Win easy with Scratch. Must be 18 or older to play. Tic-Tac-Toe, please.
Give me a tic-tac-toe, please.
Tic-Tac-Toe, please.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Daily Cash for Evening Draw for today, Friday, June 18th, 2021. I am Anisha Charles. With me again is Ms. Makiba Bain from PKF Accountants and Business Advisors, whose purpose is to ensure that this show is conducted in an accountable manner, with the game balls with industry standards and no way tampered with. For this time, you show tickets at hand. It's Daily Cash for more plays, bigger prizes. Let's find out what this evening's winning numbers will be. Good luck. First number this evening is, check your tickets in the meantime. First number is 6, second number is also 6, third number is 1, fourth and final number is 9. Let's recount those numbers. Numbers on the screen. First number is 6, the second 6, third 1, fourth and final is 9. So that's 6, 6, 1, and 9. Congratulations, all winners. Stay tuned, get to play with you up next. We'll see you soon.
Win more with the NLA's Daily Cash 4 every day, with more plays and bigger prizes to be won. It's a 4-digit game with all the bet types you already know and much more, from 0000 to 9999. Choose your 4 numbers and place your bet from 11 different bet types. Choose from inline, 4 different mixes, first 3, last 3, and 4 different backup options too. Best of all, it starts at just $1, except for backups, which starts at $2. Win as much as $5,000 with a $1 inline bet, and as much as $6,200 in a $2 backup bet. Imagine $50,000 for a winning $10 inline bet. There's definitely more to win with the Daily Cash 4. More plays, bigger prizes, twice per day, Mondays to Saturdays. Must be 18 and over to participate. NLA, making your dreams come true while supporting sports, culture, and nation building.
Welcome back, everyone, to another Playway Evening Draw for today, Friday, June 18th, 2021. I am Anisha Charles. With me again is Ms. Makiba Bain from PKF Accountants and Business Advisors, whose purpose is to ensure that this show is conducted in an accountable manner, with the game balls with industry standards and in a way tampered with. Let's play Playway, follow your dreams, win your way. Good luck. This evening's winning player numbers. Check your tickets in the meantime. Player number is 28. Let's recap the number 2828. 28 represents the dream symbol, boat. Congratulations, all the winners of this evening's Playway draw. Tune in later on for the Lotto draw. This evening we play for a jackpot of $74,000. We'll see you then.
I'm a winner. You are winner. We are winners.
It's the big one. Grenada. Imagine winning $25,000 and up to 6 times by scratching just 1 little ticket. Get your triple cash scratch tickets for a chance to live your best life. Win easy with Scratch. For just $3, match any of your numbers to any of the winning numbers and win the prize shown for that number. Reveal a money bag symbol and win the prize instantly. Triple cash scratch in stores now. Must be 18 or older to play.
Cause I'm a winner. From the moment that I get up, I'm feeling right.
Kindly greasy pole, and we don't dance from the maypole.
Welcome back. It's We Culture. Just before we go to Dubai, Reece, do you have any comments on the Facebook platform that we can take, and then we go to?
Yes, of course. We have quite a number of people just checking in. Yulin from New York. We have Gemma also from New York. David Seals. He said, yeah, good night. Greetings, Dubai. Would have met you in Montserrat at Radio Antilles when I visited. Big up to Jeffrey Aird. Anthony, I don't know if this is a slogan, but he said, get the gate before it's 8, or else you'll be late. I don't know if one of you used to say that, but...
I did.
Okay, Jeffrey. Right. So Hyacinth is saying good night from Canada. Trinidad, sorry. Leon Cummins. He said good night. 2 weeks ago, I asked Paul Roberts about Jeffrey Ed. He told me he spoke to him the day before, and tonight I am listening the man in person. So Leon is very happy about that. Now, Jose, Dubai, you need to listen up to that.
Yeah.
Good night, the Big Four and the new two giants of radio that changed the way people listen to radio in the Caribbean. The 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Radio Antilles was the ladies' favorite. Every home, the volume of radio was up to the mark because of the Dubai show. I knew of men hating Dubai because of his charming voice and the love song that captivated the minds of young women and caused breaking up in homes. Sean Wellington is saying good night. I remember the Dubai program. He was a household name in Riverside. And that's what we have so far. So, Dubai, you have been charged. The answer.
It's funny how they say all the bad things about breakups. What about all the people who got together? What about all the numbers of babies who were born because of me? I added to the populations of many of the countries. There were some positives there.
I agree.
So in other words, Dubai don't think that he becomes something.
No, I don't think so. He agreed there, but of course, he's put some together as well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And he entertained entire families.
So in other words, he broke up and he made up.
Exactly.
You want to believe he make up more than he broke up, right?
Don't forget I took some for myself.
There we go.
Oh my God.
Confession is good for the soul.
Definitely. But Dubai, let's go back to your start in the business. When did you get involved in radio?
It was meant to be. I finished secondary school, and I was doing a play at the University Center, and the president, I think he was the president of the time, the head of the radio station, a German man, and he was at the play with the program manager, saw me on stage and thought, this guy has good diction, he would make a good radio personality. And they invited me in. And I was looking for work, and so I didn't start out on air. I started out as a program producer under the watchful eye of Miss Linda Walrond of Barbados. And she taught me all I knew about program producing. I mean, you talk about splicing, using an Ampex machine and a razor blade, splicing a quarter-inch tape. I mean, I took off the letter S off words and added it to next words. I edited programs in German and whatnot, languages I didn't know, once I had the production script. And so, yes, I had the chance of working with great people like Julian Rogers and Linda Warren and Rose Willock, and the list goes on and on and on. And then, of course, being program producer, I had an idea for a show. And at the program meeting, we were brainstorming, and I needed a host. I told them the ideas that I had. I needed a host for the program, and nobody wanted to do it. It was too big a challenge. And somebody in the room said, Dubai, why don't you do it? And at that moment, Caribbean Togetherness was born.
What year was that, though?
I'm not sure. it probably was around 79. I know that I was on the air when the Grenadian and
Revolution.
I call it. Thank you for providing the term, because I was always calling it a revolution. When you land in a place that you're not invited, it's a revolution. And I remember being on the air, and there was a lady, and I believe that Mr. Jeff mentioned the name of the lady. And I remember her saying, "We must not allow them to land. We must not allow them to land." And so I was on the air the day with the revolution. I was also on the air the day with the hurricane hitting Dominica. I think it was David.
Yes.
And yes, and I remember the engineers doing something special because they got the ham radio to broadcast on us. Right, we were FM and AM, and I remember bouncing the signal of the ham radio during Dominica. So I remember those things quite vividly.
All right, no, guys, the floor is open. You can throw your questions at Dubai. All right, so.
Well, let me take a shot because this is one I'm very, very interested in. The name Dubai, obviously, it's a pseudonym, and like all Caribbean pseudonyms, there's always a story related to it. What's the story behind
this? Is the story. I am Montserrat's first junior calypso king ever. Montserrat's first junior calypso king. The very first year they started it. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a chalk dust kind of guy. Dubai, Dubai, ba-ba-dam, ba-dam, ba-dam, ba. And so during the brass choruses, I would say Dubai, Dubai, and everybody say, "Wow, he like chalk dust. He sound like chalk dust." And so Dubai, Dubai. Stuck.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was studying in Jamaica. I studied at Carrimack in Jamaica, and that same year, a gentleman came out with, "Well, let me hear you say, whoa, whoa, Duba, Duba." And so what I did was I bought the CD, because in Jamaica those days you can get 1,000 CDs on the side of the road for $1. I left some of the clothes at Mona, and I brought 45s home, right? And so the gentleman had the song Dubai, Dubai, and of course I made that my theme song. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. Doc, Reece?
So Dubai, what was some of your, or maybe which one was your favorite moment? Which moment stuck in your mind where you actually played a real pivotal role, reaching out to the Caribbean in one way or the other? What was the? I heard you mention the revolution. I heard you mention Dominica. Or was it that, or was there something else that stuck to you in your mind more than anything else?
I did a number of things. One of the things I'm proud of is that I raised funds for the OECS, and I traveled to St. Lucia. I think one of the things that made Caribbean Togetherness even more popular was I went out on the road and I met people. And for me, going into people's homes, I've been to homes where they didn't have furniture, and I sat on the ground, on the floor, and ate what they ate. And they were like, "Oh my God, Boje, you're eating from us." And I'm like, "Yeah." Going to the marketplace in Dominica, for example, on a Saturday morning, and people were like, wow. I think that would always be with me. Going to people and all of a sudden the superstar coming to them, and I wasn't an image out there somewhere, but I was right here, going through what they're going through, listening to them, visiting them in their offices. I think I will always remember that.
Reece, you wanted to ask something?
This is all for a while.
Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to ask Mr. Aird. I remember in his opening, he said that there were certain things that are being said now on radio that couldn't be said back then. Do you have some examples of that?
Well, for example, criticizing certain people. I was home in 2014, and I listened to people calling in and criticizing publicly the politicians on air.
Right.
My day, you couldn't do that. you wanted to keep your job. You see, so I was a bit surprised when I listened, and I said, wow, this never happened. And I was on radio. And some people actually using profanities, not the very profane profanities, but using words that we could not even use back in my days. And so that's why I said that things have changed a lot. You got a younger generation, they tend to change things as they go along. Because old people like me, we had to, go according to the status quo. So today, most of them don't do that. They do their own thing. So it's a big change. Basically, that's
right.
Right. Even as I said, even with certain music that's being played, we couldn't play those either in my days. I would play it, I was laughing, and I said, no, you couldn't play those in my days. So it's a total joke back then. We criticize it, but there's much we can do. If you want to keep your job, I said that, you just do it.
So I wonder if we could ask a similar question of Doobai, Godfrey. What has changed? What is different now with Radio then, Radio Antilles, and what you're experiencing now, Doobai?
The technology. When I started, I mentioned Ampex reel-to-reel. I would say Spot Masters, where you had the little 8-track looking cartridges that you stack 10 of them in a machine and then you play them one behind the other. Look at the very thing that we're doing now. We're on Zoom. We're having video. Godfrey, you're laughing because when I came on tonight, I said you actually bounced that signal in both radio, TV. Back then, all we had was Radio Land. When Radio Antilles started out, we were on AM, FM, and shortwave only. There was never any video. Now we have video, and we're on the internet, right? And so the technology has changed. And the reason why the technology is so important, because demographics and technology go together. It is well researched that more mature people use Facebook, for example, whereas younger people, they go to tech, whatever they call it.
Twitter.
Right. And so, you have all those things coming down. It influences how people shop, how people live, how people listen. I'll give you an example. Remember cricket in Australia? Everybody had a transistor radio at their air. 3 a.m. 3 o'clock in the morning. I could have been a doctor. I could have been a scientist with NASA if only I didn't stay up every night listening to it from Australia. And then yawning my head off in school the next day. Teachers said, what's wrong with you? They thought I had ADHD because I was nodding off and drumming to stay awake in class. I was listening to cricket from down under. So the technology.
Right. I want to go back to Jeff. Jeff, tell us a little bit about some of the other, persons who are involved in broadcasting at WIBS and Radio Grenada during your time. Some of them.
Well, some of them, as I said before me, in the days of WIBS, we had people like Leslie Sion, one of the top broadcasters, and we had a gentleman by the name of Lawrence Stevenson. Those old WIBS, and gradually, but they left when Radio Grenada was formed because said there were changes. The government made changes. And we had other announcers there too, like in my days, radio, like Paul Roberts, Lou Smith was there. Then we had Eugenie Johnson, I think it was at the time when I was there. So we had a very good team back in those days, and they were involved, and they also helped promote the radio station. They also helped build Radio Grenada. You see, Radio Grenada was not a one-man show. Radio Grenada was a team of all announcers, broadcasters. Even those in the control room, we all played a part in the radio station. And that what made us what we were back in those days. So it wasn't just one person building the radio station. We all did that.
All right, let me go to Dubai. So Dubai, during your time, I'm sure you mentioned earlier that you visited a couple of the islands. I know you did visit Grenada at least once. How was it then? As this huge personality coming to the islands, coming to Grenada, what was the kind of response you got?
Man, everybody adopted me. Everybody, everywhere I go. I went to Grenada. I went to Carriacou, right? I went to St. Vincent, the Grenadines. Everywhere I go, people just embraced the idea, the Caribbean togetherness idea. It was suggested that I move into politics and all that. And it was a good feeling. And I believe if there's one uniting thing, it has to be radio. Radio Antilles was not just a program. It was an idea. It brought people together. I think that was obvious, that it brought people together. But it was also a training ground. You mentioned any island or piece of any landmass, and there were people who came to Radio Antilles and were proficient enough to go back and make a difference in their country. I think of Richard Simon, for example. I think of Lou Smith, right? Barbados, the Julian Rogers and the Linda Warrens, Antigua, the Andy Lawrence, and Montserrat. You just name it. So Radio Antilles was like a training ground as well, and it was an institution. It had its power. I mean, there would never be another Radio Antilles because no government is going to issue a license for 200,000 of them watts. Radio Antilles was 200,000 watts. That's a massive amount of power to any one entity, enough to influence, communities. There were islands who wanted Radio Antilles to shut down because of its influence. Wow. So, yeah.
Are you referring to Grenada? You can speak now.
I'm in the U.S. Try and catch me.
The immunity has passed. I'm very curious. It's okay. Whatever you can give, if I understand.
Right, excuse me, may I ask a question?
Yeah.
Sorry, you had a radio announcer there by the name of Jeff Fede.
Jeff Fede, yes.
So yes. He was one of the best. He was very liked. He was very popular in Grenada too.
Yeah, we had Dick Henderson, we have Jeff Fede, and some of them I only saw when they came into the programming studio because they were in the news. The news department was 500 meters down the road, and I would see them because I would be the board operator. And that's another thing. I asked Jeffrey tonight, do you operate your own board? Because I know in some circumstances there's a combo, somebody on the other side of the glass kind of thing. We had potometer. We didn't have the slide faders like they have now, and you did your own operation.
You did your own thing. I did my own controls, everything back in those days. Yeah. Now someone else does it for you, I think. Okay. Is that?
I missed that.
Someone does it for you, the operations?
No. For me, I do my own operation. So I operate the board and do my thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a fairly new thing in Grenada. Most announcers in the very recent past would have had to do their own boards, and quite a number of them still do it. But we do have those stations that have the differences now, where the announcers are purely about just the spoken word.
Right.
Well, I think the difference that we have a lot of what we call our DJs. As it relates to actual broadcasting, you find the broadcasters, they do their own operation and they do their programs. The DJs, you may have someone there and a guy, just playing music and all of that. So you get that. But with the actual, what I refer to as real broadcasting, it's a different story. We have to take a break in a moment, but Reece, let's just take some more Facebook comments. Yeah.
Yes, please. So we have, before it gets too thick, we have Oswin Lewis saying good night from St. Vincent. Now I'm mentioning that because this program right now is about a Caribbean program and not about We Culture Grenada. It's We Culture Caribbean tonight. Alexis Simon is saying, I was an avid listener of Dubai. As a matter of fact, I used to look forward to listening Radio Antilles. Jose is saying Dubai. He's asking you that. Dubai, did Gus White had any influence on you? And where is Gus White today? Leon, you'll answer after, okay? Leon Cummings said another great moment with Jeffrey Ed was the evening request programs, learning all different area names of the island. Alexis, again, Doobai was also a household name right throughout the Caribbean, and so I believe that Dubai brought Caribbean people together. It was a one love atmosphere. Chester is saying, Albert Dubai Richards, whoa, how can I forget this household name in radio across the Caribbean? I remember on a Monday, he will refer to that program as Mush Monday. I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
Mush Monday, yeah.
Yes, and he said, let him explain what that was all about. So that's two things you have to do. Jose, Dubai, you did a show in Grenada, and many of your fans came out from every hole in Grenada to see the man behind that smooth, slick voice, just to have the Dubai moment. How did you think you were received? Jose again, Godfrey is a Grinch. He just steal my question, okay? And Ian Reggae Master, last one, is saying, good night, Jeffrey. I got some inspiration from you as a young boy. So the two questions, Dubai. What was Mush Monday? And what was the other one? About Gus White.
Gus White. Shall I answer them now or after the break?
Let's take the break. Let's take the break. Yeah, because when we come back, we're going. So we take the break and we come right back. Stay with us, folks. Don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more to come.
Kindly greasy pole, and we don't dance round the maple.
I'm a winner, you are winner, we are winners.
It's the big one. Grenada, imagine winning $25,000 and up to 6 times by scratching just one little ticket. Get your triple cash scratch tickets for a chance to live your best life. Win easy with Scratch. For just $3, match any of your numbers to any of the winning numbers and win the prize shown for that number. Reveal a money back symbol and win the prize instantly. Triple cash scratch in stores now. Must be 18 or older to play.
Cause I'm a winner. From the moment that I get up, I'm feeling right.
A pleasant evening to everyone. Welcome to the National Lotteries Authority's Lotto Draw number 3226 for today, Friday, June 18th, 2021. I am Anisha Charles. With me this evening is Ms. Makiba Bean from PKF Accountants and Business Advisors, whose purpose is to ensure that this show is conducted in a fair, accountable manner, and the game balls with industry standards and no way tampered with. At this time, you should have tickets at hand because we're about to play for a jackpot of $74,000. But first, your free ticket letter. Good luck. This evening's free ticket letter is check your tickets. Your free ticket letter for this evening is a G, as in gold. Let's proceed for 5 winning numbers. Good luck.
First up for this evening is check your tickets in the meantime. First number is 16, second number. Second number is 6, third number up. Third number is 13, followed by 23, fifth and final number. Final number is 26.
Let's recap those numbers. Check your tickets. First number up is 16. The second, 6, third, 13, followed by 23. Fifth and final is 26. So that's 1616, 066, 1313, 2323, and 2626. Your free ticket letter for this evening is G, as in gold. Congratulations to all the winners of this evening's Lotto Draw. Lotto, play and win a lot. When you play all the games of the National Lotteries Authority, support sports, culture, and nation building. Thanks for joining us. Have a fantastic weekend.
By now, you should know that the early bird catches the worm. So, what are you waiting for? Put wings to your feet and head to your nearest scratch seller. For every quick sevens scratch ticket you buy at $2, the NLA gives you 7 chances at winning as much as $7,000. Scratch the entire play area for your 7 chances at revealing as much sevens and win the corresponding prizes. Win easy with Scratch. Must be 18 or older to play.
Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable, and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Solgas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
A whole new level of convenience and comfort awaits you when you shop at Rise and Shine Supermarket and Hardware Supplies, Griffin Lane, Grenville. Convenient, because we are open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday to Sunday. We're even at your service on public holidays. Comfort, because we are easily accessible to the physically challenged. Free Wi-Fi is available while you shop, and bags come at no charge. Everyday low prices and excellent customer care. Adequate parking available. We supply everything you can possibly think of. Family and home supplies, fresh meat, vegetables, and personal care products. All brands of cooking gas at affordable prices. Plumbing fixtures, cutting and grinding discs, PVC glue, drywall screws, and power saw blades. You can send in your order, have it pulled, or pick up express.
Kindly greasy pole, and we don't dance round the maypole. Kindly greasy pole, and we don't dance round the maypole.
Welcome back, folks, and we're going to be going to our telephone lines in just a moment. I have a couple comments on our WhatsApp platform. Someone is saying, "Hi Godfrey, can you ask Doobai how is Michael Sweeney?" Doobai going to tell us about that. There's another one. In the days of WIBS, of course, Windward Island Broadcasting Service, there were men like Jerry Romaine, Roy Lewis, Robert Louis Stevenson, Eversley Olivesy, Alan Palmer, and others. Well, Jeff, you'd probably know about some of these people. Someone is saying here, I was a young girl and I used to listen to his program. And that's she's talking about Doobai here. And I remember him saying there was a young girl, she put a muddy shoe walking to his life, mud it up and then walk out. I'm 84 and I still remember. So I want to know if she washed the shoe and come back. Doobai, you recall anything like that?
Let me start from the last one first. That would be my ex-wife. No. Michael Sweeney, he came after me. I know of him, but I don't know where he is right now. And I'll rifle through them quickly. What is Mushy Monday? I discovered a few things about my listeners, Caribbean people in general, that they have an affinity to country music. I never understood it, but my grandmother always used to play Jim Reeves in the house. I end up playing Jim Reeves and, of course, love songs, country love songs, especially on a Monday. And it's the softer side. I would talk less, use the phone less, and just let the music speak for itself. So that was Mushy Monday. I discovered something else about Caribbean people. What's this thing about soap operas? I remember we had the Castlereagh line on air. We had the Kithrow Kid, and I see Mr. Jeff smiling. We used to have soap operas on the radio. And, maybe I'm dating myself, but yeah, they don't, the listener span is not that long these days to listen to half hour of the Kithrow Kid from England or the Castaway Line. I think that was produced in Australia. And so all those I would entertain, especially on a Monday. Gus White, I believe that Gus White is somewhere in the US, not sure where. And I grew up listening to Gus White and to a lady by the name of Juliet Braid. They were from my village. I grew up in the village of Kinsale, and I discovered earlier on that both Gus and Juliet were from my village, and of course I wanted to be like them.
All right, Scholar, I know you have a big question for Dubai. You're muted.
Yeah. It's not a big question, it's a small question. But let me just say off the bat that I was surprised by how he got the name. I never related Dubai to Kaisto. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I, as a Kaistonian myself, Dubai wouldn't know that, but I'm a Calypsonian myself.
Wow.
I mean, well, why didn't you go on? I mean.
I'll tell you something. The two songs that I won with the junior, I placed, I think it was third in the senior. And anybody can tell you I was robbed. I would go to my grave saying I was robbed. Why did I continue? Because it's hard to do all that. In addition to that, I did drumming for the National Dance Theatre Company. I acted in several big plays. You see, as you're talented, you find yourself fragmented as well. And at some point, I had to reel it in.
But I'm listening to Dubai, and Dubai mentioned drum, and a smile I see all inside Doc Ayres, you know.
So Dubai, funny enough, Dubai encapsulates all of us thing, you know. Dubai, Godfrey is a radio man, Dubai is a radio man. He is a Calypsonian, Dubai was a Calypsonian. Livingston a drummer, Dubai was a drummer. You see what you is Dubai.
Reece was a fan. Jeff, I want to come to you now.
Hold on, Patrick.
Okay,
hold on.
Sorry. Okay.
Because somebody will ask, Somebody will ask. One of the most popular to me, as a young boy, I was listening to I used to listen to Dubai. And one of the programs that you had, to me, that I listened to the most, to me, it was the most memorable for me. All of those mushy and things you're talking about, I can't remember the mushies at all. But what I can remember was the Christmas time with giant jumbie table.
Yes.
Relive that for me, because I can't remember all the things on the giant jumbie table up to this day. I know there was jug. What is jug?
You know what? You're going to take me to a place where I have to go back and refresh my memory and do some research. What I can tell you is that we pulled, and I have to credit Rose Willock, former program manager, on this. We did research, and as program producer, I did help to do research on all the islands. We would go from each island, take conkeys from Barbados, Dukana, Jug, Puncha Creme, Puncha Creamer, and we would bring everything from different islands and put them under the jumbie table. Now, a lot of this, in terms of food and drink, is imaginary, but the prizes that people won were supplied by the various businesses in the islands. All right, and so that's the concept. In Montserrat, there's a belief that at Christmas time we set a jumbie table for our ancestors to come and take part in. And so we would leave local things on a table, on an imaginary table. But some people do it in their households. People who really believe in this tradition, they would actually set a table and they put cheese and bread and cassava bread and ginger beer and sorrel on a table, and they expect that the ancestors would come and take part. And so the concept went across the radio, and we found, hey, you can do that, and at the same time people can win something for Christmas.
Nice.
Right. Jeff, some of the programs that you did, you mentioned the bumper to bumper, then I think it was Reece, you mentioned the request program in the afternoon. Tell us a little bit about that and the ideas, how those ideas came and materialized into actual programs that people really enjoyed.
Well, when I joined Radio Grenada, which Radio Grenada, the request program was a very small idea. Most people didn't like it too much because they thought it was a bit boring at the time. But eventually, when I took over the request program, I decided to put some life into it. It was one of my best programs, to be honest. And I truly enjoyed doing the request program. Bumper to Bumper, again, was a program where we did strictly Caribbean music. It's a half-an-hour program every afternoon, Monday to Friday. And it was strictly Caribbean music was played there. And, so you have to give the people what they enjoy, what they love listening to, what they want. But the most popular program on Radio Grenada was, I would say, in my part, was the request program. People love that program. So because you have to be very careful when you're reading request program, because there are instances where people would try to use try to get us to send out requests to people who are married and, sort of get people in trouble. So you have to be very careful. There are times that I would look at the request program and I would say to myself, no, I don't think I should read this. And I'll put it in the garbage. You have to be very careful. But of all the times I've been doing the request program for all those years, there was only once only, where a gentleman actually came to the radio station. I was on duty that day, and I read a request, and it turned out it was for his daughter. And the name sounded like his daughter's name, but the pronunciation was different. Some pronunciations, whatever is the sound alike, or the spelling would be. Anyway, he left St. George and came to the radio station to complain that I had sent a request to his daughter. So I said no. So then I went into the files and I took out the request and I showed it to him. And then he looked and he said, oh, well, this is not my daughter. The name sounds similar to my daughter's. He apologized. And he left. That was the only time that I had that problem. So most people didn't like the request program. Sometimes people would sit by the radio and they would tell me I'm shivering in case somebody sent a request to this married woman or this married guy, and his girlfriend wants to send a request to him. So you had to be very, very careful. So that time we went through it before we went on air, we'll go through the request and we sort of smell something is wrong and we'll dump it in the garbage. But that was the only time. And funny, I was the one who was working that day when the person came to the radio station. And I was scared because I was going to be done. I knew very well. I knew the gentleman very well, and he used to carry a gun. Seriously.
but let me just ask this. I mean, well, maybe I don't get it. But what if you send a request? What about a request? Because, I mean, from what I recall, someone would probably send a request saying, hi, hello, how you doing? And they ask you to play a song.
Right. No, but you send a request, for example, if you're married and some girl somewhere likes you, she would say, because sometimes the request would come coming from someone special. Right. There's no name. Some people add, do not mention my name. And then we have to say from someone special. But if I recognize the person who is getting the request, I wouldn't play it. And I would call them. And I would say, look, I just got this thing. And they'd say, Tomas, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And so you want to be very, very careful.
Actually, hold on, Reece. As you mentioned that, I did see someone asking about that alias, Tomas, and you mentioned that?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask him.
No.
You just said Tomas, right?
Yes.
So Patricia Coutain is asking, what was your alias? Was it Tomas?
Tomas is an old nickname I had since I was around 10 years old. It started because I live in the city, and one Sunday, a group of guys were getting ready to go to the Grandlands Beach, and I was just a kid. So I just simply asked, "Where are you guys going?" One of them said, "We're going to Mars." That's how the group out of that. So that name stuck. So to Mars back then. Because what I asked was, "Where are you going?" And they said, "To Mars." And this was
all right. That's how people get nicknames. But before you go, Vicky Thomas is saying good night all. Used to look forward to the song "Run to Me" whenever you're lonely. Right. So "Run to Me" whenever you're lonely. Anytime Jeffrey Ed was on air. I guess that was a favorite song, right? And I'm just gonna skip another one. Angus Smith is saying, I remember Jeffrey Ed's famous saying was the Jackson 5 brothers, all boys.
Well, that day I think the radio station received the most telephone calls in its history, and half of those calls was to get that idiot off the air. Why is he so stupid? If they are brothers, they are boys.
Right. Oh, okay. We have a couple more comments. For this one is about Dubai. Radio Antilles was one of the favorites in the Caribbean, especially from 5:30 p.m. The ladies were tuned in to listen to episodes of a story and will bring you into the 6 p.m. news and the best weather updates. Radio Antilles was a German-owned station because they also broadcast in German. Do you think that the change in broadcasting lost a great majority of the listeners when the German broadcasting came on the scene? That's a question, Dubai. Yeah, so Dubai and Jeff also was your greatest accomplishment and disappointment of being on radio and any regrets. They're asking, what was your greatest accomplishment and disappointment of being on radio, and if you have any regrets?
Well, I had no regrets of being on radio. I loved being on radio. I was the most criticized of all the radio announcers. Seriously, I was. Most of the calls that came into Radio Grenada were to simply shut him up, get him off the air. The funny thing with people will tell you, "Oh, I don't listen to this person. I don't listen to that person." No, that's not true. They listen to you, because if they don't listen, how can they criticize what you're saying? So you have people all the time, "Oh, I don't listen to him. I don't listen to her." But if you don't, then how do you know what they're saying? You know?
Exactly.
So people would call in. I got the most calls. What my regret actually is the destructive criticism. Not that I got set on air, because when you're an announcer, you cannot show too much emotions while you're on air. You have to be sort of upbeat and whatever. But the destructive criticism and the constructive criticism. A lot of people don't like me. I remember that. They would call in and use profanities. But the fact is, they still listen. I remember once, yeah, they still do. They always do. I remember once I was having lunch at the Nutmeg on the Carnage, and somebody came in, and after the guest left or whatever, he said to me, "Do you know that person doesn't like you?" I said, "Is that so?" I said, "I'm aware of that, but I'm getting free food and free drinks. I don't care who don't like me. I'm serious. I'm getting free. Yeah, I'm getting free food and free drinks, as long as they don't poison me. So you can eat as much as you want. Yeah, as long as you're paying for the free food and paying for the drinks, it's okay with me. Yeah. So it's basically that. So I had no regrets being on radio. I didn't care. I loved being on radio. I loved it all the time. Yes, I was suspended, but it was all my fault. I never lost my job. Never did. I was only suspended, and I was the most suspended radio announcer in the Caribbean. No one else in the Caribbean was ever suspended so many times at all. I was only about 5 times. Yeah, all right. That makes you a legend. That song "Runaway" actually was recorded by Dave Alcock of 610 Radio, 610 Radio, right? And his girlfriend at the time, Mavis John. She was also a singer. So they were both married at one time. So they recorded that song "Runaway." It's a very nice song. I liked it.
Yes. All right. So there was a question for Dubai before we go to the telephone.
The same question.
I have no regrets. It cost me some things, and I got myself into some situations because of it. I'll give you a quick story. One day I was living with a girl. I was sitting in the living room watching TV. A taxi pulls up in front of the house, and a woman jumps out with 3 suitcases, passes me and goes in the house. My girlfriend is in the kitchen, right? And I said, girl, where you going? Where you going? She said, I come to live with you. I said, you can't just jump on a plane and come to live with Dubai. You know, of course, I lost bat and ball that day because the girlfriend left me. And of course, I'm not going to take in some woman from a distant land that I didn't know. So I suffered because of it. I didn't have any regrets.
And the girl came from Roseau.
August, boy! August! How you know that? Yes. You probably sent her.
All right, so guys, we need to go to a telephone because the phone has been going for quite a while. Let's go to a telephone and see who's with us. We Culture, good evening.
Yes.
Can you turn the volume of your radio down, please, and listen to us on your telephone, caller?
Hello, do you remember this?
Caller, I would like you to turn the volume of your radio down and listen to us on your telephone.
Okay, so hear it now?
Yes, all right, so let's go.
Yeah, listen to this. Do you all remember this? And the man on the radio station had a special dedication with Jimmy and the girl that he loved so cuckoo. You all remember this? That is 1970s, you know. You all remember this? And the man on the radio station had a special dedication with Jimmy and the girl that he loved so cuckoo. You remember this? Anybody remember this song?
No, I don't. I don't.
That was when Blue Smith and all the people men were done. Do you remember that at all?
No, we don't. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, though. Thank you very much indeed. All right, so our telephone number is 435-2041. You can also use that same number to send your WhatsApp messages. No WhatsApp calls, only WhatsApp messages. Let's go back to our telephone. We Culture, good evening. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good evening. Go ahead, please. Caller, can you go ahead, please?
Yeah, the lady that sung that song before, I know that song. But in any case, I want to say good night, a special good night to Jeff Ed in Dubai. Jeff Ed, I remember in Wibb's time, there was a lady named Hermione Charles. Probably you forgot to list that. That lady was also a very prominent lady. She was a very good news reporter. And also, the request program, bumper to bumper and after bumper to bumper was the request that was really, really good. But I don't know if Jeff Ed remember JC's Radio Bingo. Every night at 7:30, we had this JC's Radio Bingo on Radio Grenada. And also to Dubai, I remember on Radio Antilles every Sunday afternoon, they used to have a kind of a oldie goldies. I don't know if you remember that. You remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, oldie goldies. That used to rock the whole Caribbean and everything like that. And Jeff Ed too, I remember too, you said you used to play a lot of Caribbean and the request program. But I remember was a lot of oldie goldies too, and also used to play a lot of Michael Jackson. But in my opinion, the request program was the most popular one. But it was not only Caribbean alone, with due respect to it. It was really, really, because in them days, we didn't have much of a Caribbean music. Like, no, we had more foreign, as you know. And so we had more foreign music, but the request program was definitely the most popular.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much indeed. Our telephone number 435-2041. Let's go back to the telephone. We Culture. Good evening. Hello.
Good night.
Could you turn the volume of your radio down, please?
Sorry. Long.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Good night. Good night to all the people there tonight. I just want to ask Mr. Ed. It's a long time. I know that
Mr. for a very long time, and I want to ask him if you remember the Solomons in Grenville Street.
Yes, I do remember the Solomons.
Eddie and Raymond and all those guys.
Yes, I remember the Solomons. I do.
Right. Well, I used to live with them. So, and I remember I met you one night. I was going up Christmas Eve night. I was going to town. And I met you just by the Salvation Army. But you wouldn't even remember me. But I'm glad to see that I'm still alive and I could see you still.
What's your name, dear?
My name is Claudette.
What's it?
Claudette.
Florence.
Claudette.
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 Yes.
Claudette.
Williams.
What's the last name?
Williams.
Claudette Williams.
Yes.
Yes, that name sounds familiar. It was a long time ago. Yes, but I think when you met me on Grenville Street, was I by the Salvation Army? Was I walking by the Salvation Army or from the Salvation Army?
I didn't hear this last.
Anyway, caller, it's a long time, but you know, I'm sure he would come back to him. So thank you very much indeed. Thanks a lot. Yeah. All right. Let we continue. The number is 435-2041. That's the number you can call, and if you have any questions, let's go again. We Culture. Good evening. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, go ahead, please, caller.
Yes, caller, take away my question. I had that plan since last week, to ask Doobai about under the Jumbie table. Scholar, we take away my question tonight. I planned for that since last week, And
sorry.
Scholar, take away my
I hope you got it answered.
Well, I'm very, very sorry. Doobai, you remember everything that was on the Jumbie table?
If I remember everything?
Yeah.
No. If you jog my memory, some things would come back. But things like jug from Barbados, and like I said, it's a little bit from each and every island. Sorrel, ginger beer, that sort of thing. Yeah.
But Doobai, let me just ask you this: radio and you being this superstar, and don't try to be modest because you were. The Caribbean love Doobai. Over the years, how did it feel? I mean, you said you started, as a program producer and all of that. Then, like that, you went on air, do a program, and from there on, well, the rest is history. How did that kind of popularity? How did it feel for you?
Yeah, it was an experience. It was a ride. I think the time had to come. The time came when I really had to walk away from it. Because it would had to change. For example, I was having problems with relationships. I mean, it was just crazy. I sympathize with popular people and how they do it. And given the Caribbean, right? I mean, at that point, the woman to men was something like 8 or 9 to 1. Right, and so you felt that kind of pressure. I'm having dinner in a restaurant. I can't eat because women are coming, want to take pictures, want to come home, coming up to your room and all them things. You go to shows. I almost got killed. And I don't remember which island, but a column of speakers fell. They had to get me out of there and down a ladder, from the second story because the crush of people were coming. You see, Caribbean people are not like people in the U.S., for example, where they will maul you on the street. But when they love you, they love you. And when they love you, they don't hesitate. They don't hold back, to show you. But it was a good ride. It was a very good ride, and I probably would have had to take it to another level. Like I said, somebody thought that I should go into politics. I would sooner go into religion than politics. But and use some of that influence.
All right. Let's go back to the telephone. We Culture. Good evening. Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, good evening. Go ahead, please.
Godfrey, you and your guest. I'm enjoying the program. A woman called and sang a part of a song. It is associated with country and western. Connie Smith was the singer of that song. The tiny blue transistor radio. He bought it for my birthday, was one short year ago. A tiny blue transistor radio. We sat a place and listened to the song we called our own on the tiny blue transistor radio. And then after 1 year, they broke up. So the song continued. And as a matter of fact, I would say that with the coming of the transistor-type radios, radio became 10 times more popular. So everybody had some portable radio, and they listened to it wherever they went during the 60s, 70s, too, and early 80s. All right, good night.
Thank you very much indeed, caller. Thank you very much. 435-2041. Let's go back. We Culture, good evening.
Yes, good evening, brother. Glad I get you a time like now. Doobai Nancy Wagner, and also that boy in St. Vincent, Randy, and also the same fellow in Grenada here. That is the man that I used to rock the nation of music around this kind of little time, brother. Yes, I don't like to say, I love that happening. Yes. Nancy Wagner from Dubai country. Yes.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much.
Well, my brother, I remember traveling to St. Vincent to work for a man named Mills. If I got the name correctly, Mills used to make money from the dead. He would tell you that. I think he was a mortician there, and he brought me there because people used to bring me to the islands to do shows. I was MC. I did Miss OECS in Dominica a few times. You heard I went to Grenada and to Carriacou. Who goes to Carriacou? Someone asked me. I do. I've been to Union Island, the Grenadines. I went to Sabre. Now, landing in Sabre, you deserve to wear a T-shirt, Mark. I survived the Sabre landing. You do that. And mind you, I'm afraid of flying, right? In those days, Liat had a Trilander. They didn't have the Dash 8 just yet. They had a Trilander. They had a plane that they had to weigh you just for you to get on. Because if they couldn't find somebody with the same weight, you couldn't get on that plane. I arrived in Cane Field one time, and when I touched down, I kissed the ground. Because that plane did some things, and I had body fluids oozing from orifices that I didn't know I had. You see, so anyway.
Let's go back to the telephone. We Culture, good evening. We seem to have lost that one. Jeff, someone is asking, do you recall the BBC Caribbean magazine from 4 to 4:30 on Sunday afternoon with Lou Smith, Paul Roberts, Alex Pascal, Jerry Romaine?
I remember that.
Yes, that was on, but must have been before my time. I don't think I remembered it, but when I got to the radio station in 71, I don't think it was there. BBC Magazine, I don't recall that.
Okay.
I remember BBC.
I remember BBC Magazine.
BBC Magazine, I'm trying hard to remember that.
But we all remember the pips.
Yeah. 18 hours, Greenwich Mean Time.
Yes, indeed. Let's go back. Let's go back to our telephone. We Culture. Good evening. Hello.
Yes, Citizen Augustine. Greetings to you again.
Yes, indeed.
Listen, here's a question I'd like to throw out to Mr. Ed and Mr. Gentleman from Montserrat there. Tell me, as radio announcers, prominent and illustrious voices on radio in the Caribbean over the years, or in the years past 70s into the 80s, did you have any specific orientation by your employers your language skills in your deliberation? And how do you compare the use of the language then to what we have on radio today? Thank you very much and have a nice evening, will you?
Thank you very much, caller. Jeff, Dubai?
Oh, well, language, as I said, I grew up listening to the BBC. I love their style of broadcasting. And The problem with radio announcing, try to be yourself. Do not try to copy others the way they sound. I remember there's a guy from Guyana in the old days called Hugh Chomley, one of the best announcers in Guyana, and he told me the same thing too. So, Jeff, just be yourself. Don't try to be with others. You don't talk to that. Speaking is something that comes naturally to anyone. It comes naturally to you. You talk yourself, and you can do the best you can. Don't try to think that you're better than the other person, and you don't try to, sound like somebody else. It's like being on a talent show or something like that. You go there and you speak your mind, you say your own thing, you speak to yourself, you don't speak properly. So what? Your idea, don't let people tell you you don't sound good. As long as they understand what you're saying, as long as they understand what you're saying, that's the most important thing. So, so the styling of broadcasting is there that you have to know what to say, how you're saying it, and don't be concerned that people are criticizing you and attacking you because of the way you sound. A lot of people didn't like my voice on radio. They didn't like my voice. Yeah, I know that. But again, as I said, they still listen. They listen so they can criticize. If you don't listen, you can't criticize. Some people loved my voice, others didn't like my voice. But I love my voice, and I still do, because I understand what I say, and those who love my voice, they understand what I say. So, that's simply put, that's why I always say that.
Okay, wonderful. Doobai, you want to comment on this?
When I came in, it was all BBC. In fact, I was told by people above me, more established, senior to me, that I would never make it because I introduced the colloquial. I struggled to buck the system, and how I did that was simple. Well, it wasn't simple. It was simply this: I showed myself proficient in speaking the Queen's language and flipping the script and being colloquial at times. That is different from some of the things I'm hearing on radio today. First of all, I never wanted to be called a DJ. I was never a DJ. I was always an announcer. I announced. I didn't DJ. And so I proved myself that I can go between the English language using big words and high-floated phrases and things. And then when I met people on the street, I can drop to their level. On the phone, I can drop to their level. I met people at their level. And so, yes, after a while, the powers that be had to give into my way because I was popular. I was bringing in funds to the station. They could not stop me. I was unstoppable. But yes, when I started first, there were people telling me you're not going to make it, and this is the way you speak, this is the way you enunciate. And I look back now and I thought, wow, the road that you have to travel.
Let me ask you this quickly, Doobai. Was it your personality or your programming that made you into the superstar?
I think it's personality.
The personality.
When I'm called in the same phrase as the Andy Lawrence and the Nat Moses and the Gus White and the Julian Rogers, I have no business there. I have absolutely no business there. I grew up listening to these guys and ladies, and it's my personality. The fact that I took the show on the road, I met people, I was multi-talented. Not that the others weren't, but I did other things that they weren't doing. I appealed to more people at different levels, at different times, different places. It's the personality.
The personality. Okay.
Let us add something there, Godfrey. In the early days of WIBS, right, before I joined, and maybe at the beginning of Radio Grenada, but in WIBS especially, you were not allowed to speak colloquially on air. No, that was a no-no. You had to speak the Queen's so-called language. As a matter of fact, in the early days of WIBS, most of the announcers there were BBC trained, they were from the BBC. So any Grenadian who happened to be on air, you had to speak so-called properly. Could not say anything colloquial because people back then didn't like to hear that. It's like calypsos. Most people in the Caribbean do not like calypsos. And it's one of the reasons why you were not allowed to play it at all, period. Just banned from the airwaves in the old days, from the airwaves. You couldn't play calypsos. And then when you started to play, not on a Sunday. when I joined Radio Grenada, we couldn't play calypsos on a Sunday. But in days of whips, you could not speak colloquially. Speak properly, you want to keep your job. Times have changed now.
Yes, indeed. Let's go back to our telephone. We Culture, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to say hello to everyone. And to Mr. Doobai, I could remember on the Radio Antilles that they used to do their pen pal. It was a pen pal. He used to do pen pal program. And Radio Antilles was a station that anything you heard from this, like good Tobago, well pressed, any serious news, anything news coming first, people try to tune into Radio Antilles. And I wanted to know, really, as a young guy, I listened to Doobai, and I wanted to always know how he could have controlled so many ladies in these islands and that radio. And sometimes you could hear some of them speaking and some of them crying on the phone when they call and them kind of stuff. Well, Mr. Jeffrey Ed, well, I knew him in the 70s. But what I want to know if he ever met those people, like the manager of the station, if he was there, Mr. Claude Tableside or Mr. Smith. And if you know these gentlemen like Mr. Alexander, Mr. Jerry Romaine, or Miney Charles, Kayak, which used to be the drivers of the bus, and Mr. Moraine and Sukit and these guys. And if you go back to where Radio Grenada was, you can see that right where the bus shed that used to transport the workers, right now Cinnamon Hill turned that area into a tennis court. Right, and that station was a very nice station because I could remember that there are bands all the way from Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent used to come to record there because it had a dark room with a soundproof when you go in that room. And that station was designed something just like like you go into the Parliament building, a big step in front, and then when you climb the step, you go and then you reach in the veranda, and then you go to the back where there's a sitting room, and then you go to the newsroom. The newsroom was a special room just with a big glass. You can stay outside and look at the people reading the news. Then you had the radio room. Then you had the library, and it was a nice layout station.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you very much indeed. All right. I just have a comment here from someone, Jeff. It said, Jeffrey, we used to say Jeffrey Ed with the big head. I remember visiting Radio Grenada in the 70s and Jeffrey looking very handsome. I must have been about 13 or 14. I also remember my older sister winning an album by Eric Donaldson in a radio quiz on Radio Antilles. Someone is saying, good night, I'm happy to see Doobai. I remember him in my younger days. He was awesome. Right. Another one person says, good night, everyone. Mr. Ed, do you remember the Pick of the Pops on Saturday nights? A couple of the videos are asking about that. Reece, anything on Facebook?
Yes, we have quite a bit. We have Kester Victor saying, Godfrey, there is a guy in La Poterie. He got the name Doobai by listening to Radio Antilles. So somebody would have been listening to Doobai quite often. Hannah is saying, I'm not too sure what year it was, but I remember the bingo calling out on the radio on a Saturday night. Every Saturday, my grandfather would buy bingo tickets in town and looking forward to playing that game. Then we had Kipling Francis is saying, before transistor radio, there was what we used to call $7 battery radio and a gramophone. Maria is saying she's enjoying the program. Unfortunately, she didn't experience Doobai, but he has lots of jokes. Flavor King, Doobai was a hit in the days. I used to sit for his program every day as a child. P.T. Martinic representing. Jose is saying, Doobai, you were Radio Antilles, Jeff was Wibs. Glenn Jackson and Randy D was St. Vincent. That is, if you were to rate the way radio operators today and what is badly missing in radio today that made people put down that transistor radio with the shortwave. I'm not sure if he's asking a question, midwave and AM and the pile stations far down the road. I'm not sure if he's asking you how you would rate operators today and say what is badly missing in radio. And that is for both you and Mr. Ed. And Hannah Plenty said most persons with unique voice mostly find themselves in the broadcasting industry. Karen Jolly wants you to know that Doobai, you made radio fun. Flavor King during Hurricane Gilbert, he was instrumental in his broadcast of the event. Hannah is saying, can't tell, never heard, maybe you have to leave her. Okay, I don't know what that is about. Jose, Ms. Jolly represents the news. I was proud and I see my, okay, that's a different comment. So yeah, so maybe you guys can rate how is it that it's different now compared to operators of before in terms of the different bandwidth. That's a question Jose was asking.
I don't know if it's a fair comparison. I think every period, every decade, every so often, they have their own thing. I'm not sure that we strictly radio people can compare with what's going on now. I was driving to work one night and there was a gentleman on and he was saying that the attention span now is so short that games that used to last a while, like Monopoly and Scrabble, they have to reduce them to 2 and 3 minutes because the attention is so. And so if I were in radio now, I would have to reinvent myself to try and fit the listenership and to try and get people on board to listen to me now. So I'm not sure I'm in a position to, and I'll make a quick comparison. I was in St. Martin the other day and I was listening to what they're listening to now, Raga Soca. If I was on radio, I don't know if I'll play that. My listeners wanted to hear it. I'll probably play it, cue the record. It would have to be a record and turn the speaker down. But that thing don't make no sense to me, no how. But again, that's me.
Doobai, someone is asking, do you remember going to Baines Hall in Grenville? There were lots of people, a massive turnout to see you.
That's probably the place I'm talking about. Is it a 2-story building, I wonder?
Yes.
Remember, I told you a story. I was on the 2nd floor at some building, and the crush of people came, and the 2 columns of speakers fell,
right.
and somebody pulled me, and we had to take a ladder and escape down the back of the building. That's the place.
Right. Someone else.
Godfrey. I think Mr. Ed had to answer the question.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not escaping.
Pardon me?
You're not escaping the question about how would you rate.
That, there always changes. As I said earlier, in programming, that changes, nothing remains the same. So in my days, we did one thing. Today, it's something else. And people like me may not approve of the programming today because we didn't have that in our day. Today's programming applies to today's people, today's generation, and what they want to hear. It's like Doobai talking earlier about country music. Some people don't like country music at all, period, right? Others do. But in my days, country music was not a big deal as such. Yes, we had a program of country music on a Saturday, I think from 4 until 5 or something like that. But even though it was not popular, people listened to it. Now, today, if I have a chance to listen to radio, which is not very often, and I hear certain music playing, whatever, I say, well, that didn't apply in my days, but it's not my business to change anything. I can't. I'm moving on, and they are coming along after me. You see, so as I said before, my time was my time. We did things differently. And today, things are done differently. So today's people are a much younger generation. They want to hear their type of people want to hear. The younger people want to hear this, so let them play. Let them program. You go on the air. I was watching the program one night, and the person was reading, and to be honest, I couldn't really understand what the person was reading because the person was going so fast, no full stops, nothing. So I said, no, in my days, you couldn't do that. No, you couldn't. They will stop you, or you won't go back on again to read if you weren't reading properly. Today is different. Most people today on radio don't like to read. They want to push the music, right? But people today, not in my days, people love to read. Somebody mentioned Hermione Charles. Yes, I remember Hermione Charles was a very, very nice woman. Hermione was in charge of a newsroom, and she had a very British accent. Hermione read very well. We got along very well, So, there are times that she will come to me with a little criticism. If I'm on the air and I say something that is out of place, when I'm finished, I went to the newsroom. Hermione would say, Jeff, you said so-and-so, and you shouldn't say so-and-so. Sure, because one thing with me, I accepted criticism. People would call, speak to me, and tell me you should not say this. I never got upset or hung up on that. I never did that. I always listened to my critics. I don't want to be long and it was getting late, but there was a hotelier back on the island in the old days. He's calling to me sometimes when I'm doing the classical program in the evening, and he will tell me how I should pronounce the classical names or the name of the classical music. But something I enjoyed. I enjoyed his phone calls. If he didn't want me to improve myself, he wouldn't have called me. He would say, that idiot again, let him make the mistakes. But he didn't do that. He would call me once in a while and show me, you said so and so. No, it's pronounced that way. So as I said, programming today is much different from programming yesterday. We want to do that.
All right, so we're going to take one final call because we almost at the wrap it up stage. Let's take a final call. We culture, good evening.
Good evening. One question for Jeffrey Eden. I wanted always to know, why were you so stylish? Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Just the one way was so stylish.
In clothing, stylish comes in different things with stylish.
Well, I'll tell you this though. Someone said, Jeff, that in a comment here that you admired Uncle Gary so much that you spoke like him.
People said I spoke like Sir Eric, and they also said I sometimes spoke like Dear Belcock. We had a similar deep voice, whatever, especially when I'm doing the morning show. Well, yes, people do say that I sound like Sir Eric when I'm trying to be stylish. So I think that's what it's all about. But no, we all have our styles. We all have our style. We all do things differently. It's human nature. We all have that. There are those who are for you and those who are against you. As Eric Williams once said, those who are for me, who are not for me, are against me. That's obvious.
All right, so let me just take a final comment here. Someone is saying, for me, when I think of radio personalities, Doobai and Jeff are two of those at the forefront. The other is Rennie Bishop of Trinidad. Let me see. Right, Jeffrey loved broadcasting from since his days at Palmer School. Another person says, good night to all. Mr. Ed, I see you remember growing up. I used to remember growing up. Well, I remember growing up listening to you on a Saturday night. All right. Godfrey, very good show as usual. Jeffrey Ed, I met Jeff Fede in Grenada and St. Lucia, who you always mentioned. And to Dubai, I met you in St. Lucia at Liat Castri's office. All right, so that's all the comments we have for now. Guys, we're gonna take some the final Facebook comments, and we'll make our final, our closing remarks for this evening. Reece? You disappeared? What happened to Reece? All right. Yeah.
I'm fighting up with the internet as usual, but I heard my name.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm
Right, so we want to take the final Facebook comments, and then we have to make our final remark, closing comments.
Okay. Well, what has been happening really, it's a little conversation between Hannah Plenty, Jose Onesto, and Karen Jolly. They're like children arguing here tonight. But anyways, Jose Onesto is saying, We Culture, the listening meter just went up again. From Harold, Pi City, the big one tonight, Jeff and Dubai. Great program, guys. I'm looking forward to breaking that meter needle next Friday night. Flavor King is saying, Godfrey, I know people used to cry when Dubai program end on a daily basis. Dan Abel is saying, wonderful program as always. Jose, thank you for the compliment. I like them too, my earrings. And I think that's about it. The rest of it is basically just Hannah, Karen, and Onesto having a good time. So to make my closing remarks, I don't know why is it, but this is for the last 2 Fridays, I have been chosen first to give opening comments as well as to give closing comments. I don't know what is happening here. Dubai, usually I'm last. but I'm first tonight. First of all, I want to say a happy Father's Day to all you fathers. I really begged for this to be a Father's Day program this weekend, like we would have done for the mothers. But there are 2 corporates here that said that Father's Day is not as important. So they're contributing to that thing that you guys are fighting for. That presence and appreciation and level playing field with the mothers. They are the deterrents. They are the spokes in your wheel, not me. So happy Father's Day. I hope when Sunday comes around that you are treated well, that you feel appreciated and going forward. Anything that you didn't do, you do. What you need to do, you do. Your makeup, you know, that sort of thing. About the program tonight, Mr. Aird, it's a pleasure making your acquaintance. I'm really happy that I got this opportunity. I did not know about you before. Some of the things that we spoke about, I vaguely remember some of them, but I was more like a Dubai child. So I remember Saturdays and, the Christmas program and people trying to call in from the Caribbean to win things. And it was so exciting. You felt like you were part of a big thing, which is the Caribbean. There was no small island and big island and all of that. It was one Caribbean. And Dubai, I think you were that ingredient that put everything together. You were that single thing that was so appreciated throughout, using that medium, which was the big RA. So thank you very much. I think meeting you was not on my bucket list because I never thought that this would have ever happened, but it has happened. So I'm truly grateful and I would never forget this moment. I mean, this is great. So thank you. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Reece. Doc.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it was really a pleasure meeting those 2 stalwarts in radio. I think I had learned a lot tonight about what it was doing radio. Unfortunately, the trend that was set by you men is not continuing because especially Dubai, that unification, that coming together and that reinforcement of what made us Caribbean people is no longer there. Everybody fighting for the liquor pizza, the liquor corner and defending the corner. So it's quite unfortunate that we were not able to capitalize and build on that with a lot of regrets. Listening to you and knowing the kind of feeling it brought, and everywhere you went to the Caribbean, you were appreciated because they saw something in you. And I mean, somebody from Montserrat, somebody from Grenada saw something in you as a brother. Someone in Dominica left to come to be with you because they saw something in you. So it's kind of unfortunate that we have nothing now that can hold us together. But you have done your job, and again, I just want to say thank you for the services that both of you carried out. So good night and thank you, folks.
Thank you very much.
Finley.
Well, let me just echo the sentiments of all who have gone before me, Reece and Doc. This was quite an enjoyable night, memorable in every way. To make two of the greatest people I've heard about. And the funny thing about it is that, I didn't know about Jeffrey Ed, because Jeffrey Ed was before my time. And listening to all of the callers, all of the contributions, and listening to Jeffrey Ed, I dare say that Jeffrey Ed came from a line of slaves who used to go on the plantation. Jeffrey Ed was a rebel. You could hear that. I mean, a man in those days on radio suspended 5 times. You could tell that whatever he stood for, that's what he stood for. And in many ways, I consider myself to be like that. One of the slaves who used to go on the plantation and run out. And you could tell that Jeffrey was a rebel in radio, even at that time. And of course, Doobai is who I actually grew up with. And the funny thing is that I must say that when I saw Doobai, because I've never seen Doobai before, in my mind's eye, with all that Doobai has done, and so I thought Doobai was a big woman. I mean, I thought when I listened to Doobai back then, Doobai was like how he is now. Yes. And deceptively, those guys were very, very young. Very, very young people, but they were influencing the Caribbean that you just can't imagine. When I thought of Dubai and you said that, I spoke of Dubai and you said you have to get Dubai. And I was wondering to myself, why Dubai not there yet? Because I'm thinking by Dubai must come a whole long time ago, and not that Dubai died from some accident or something, but I'm thinking Dubai died from old age. That's what I thought, because of the kind of influence that these guys had. You actually thought that these guys were older than they actually are, and it's so great meeting you guys. So great to hear you once again. I know the people would have enjoyed the program. They spoke of the meter. I don't know where we are going from here. I can't tell where we are going from here. But one thing I can say before I drop off, Doc, I don't like how Reece getting on tonight. I don't like Reece only praising Dubai and praising Dubai. That guy don't look good,
I'm sure you realize I'm quiet,
and that's what I realized. Well, anyway, gentlemen, it was a pleasure.
Yes, indeed. So Jeff, you're closing. Anything in closing you would like to tell the Grenadian people and all our listeners?
I tell all my fans, like the oldest, those who are still around, thank you very much for the compliments, and thank you for calling in. And I had fun tonight. I enjoyed myself. I'd like to thank everyone tonight on the panel for everything, all the nice words, Reece and everyone. Thank you very kindly. And I hope next time we can do this again. And once again, thank you again, Godfrey, and all the listeners out there who still like me. I'm still around, not going away in a hurry. Right. I'm only 70 years old. I'm still young. So once again, thank you very much, and a pleasant good night.
All right, thank you. So Doobai, the man himself. We've come to that point where we have to wrap for this evening. Let me ask you: in the days of in your heyday the radio, when you were coming close to the end of your program, what would you say to your people, man?
I had a standard extra. We had an intro and we had an extra. And my extra would go something like, well, it's now time for me to make my nunc dimitis. And many people say, what the heck? What is that? I said, when you find out, let me know. It's time for me to make my nunc dimitis. And my name is Albert Doobai Richards. And I'm here to say one love, so long, man gone.
All right. Look, I thank you guys so very much. Jeff, thank you so very much. I remembered you as a young guy growing up. That's all we had, radio. And, being at home with my mom and dad, they would listen to the country and western, the request program, all of those. And a little boy, I heard that name and it stayed with me. Of course, like we see and the others, I was more into the Doobai era. And of course, I remember Doobai very well. His famous thing, Montserrat, good morning. I never forgot that. I remember there was a particular time when Troy Garvey tried it. It wasn't like Dubai, but nevertheless, it was good. So Dubai, thank you so very much, for accepting the invitation, and being here with us this evening. And definitely we will be in touch. We need to let people know more about what real radio programming was all about, as compared to some of the things that we hear now. So again, thank you very much. Team, Doc, Reece, Skulls, thank you guys very much. Have a good night and we talk again soon. All the best, folks. That's all the time we have for this evening. Do enjoy the rest of the evening and the weekend. We're gone.
Thank you.
Kindly greasy pole, and we don't dance on the maypole. Raise it high up the ladder, let we set it on fire. A little more calypso, forget the funk and the disco. A little more limbo, a little more shango. Kindly greasy pole, and we don't dance on the maypole.